let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles in anyone's financial life, getting to that first $100,000. It can honestly feel like you're trying to climb a mountain. But here's the secret. Once you understand why it's so tough, you can actually find the shortcuts to get there a whole lot faster. So let's get right into it. The late, great Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner in crime, he did not pull any punches. This quote is pretty blunt, right? But it gets right to the heart of how brutally important this first step is. His whole point was you should do whatever it takes, legally of course, to hit this number. And the reason he was so passionate about it is because once you cross that line, the whole game of building wealth just completely changes.
So, why is this number, 100K, such a huge tipping point? Well, it all boils down to two fundamental principles. And I promise you, once these click, you are never going to look at your money the same way again.
Okay, principle number one is that capital scales. Now that might sound a little technical, but all it means is this. The more money you have, the more work each of your dollars can do for you. The opportunities you get and the returns you can make just get bigger and bigger as that pile of money grows.
This right here shows you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's say you make a decent 10% return on an investment. If you invested $100, great, you made $10, enough for lunch maybe. But if you invested $100,000, that same 10% return earns you $10,000. And here is the absolute key. The risk, the percentage risk, was exactly the same, but the results, they are not even in the same universe.
And this is exactly what people mean when they use that old saying. You've heard it a million times, right? It takes money to make money. Well, this idea of capital scaling, that's the math that proves it's true. That first 100 grand is the money you need to really start making money. The second principle is something you've probably heard of, the snowball effect. Just picture a little snowball at the top of a really, really long hill. That first push to get it going is the hardest part, right? But as it starts to roll, it picks up more snow, it gets bigger, and it starts moving faster and faster all by itself. Your wealth works the exact same way. Now, let's look at the actual numbers, because this is where it gets really wild. If you save $10,000 a year and get a pretty standard 7% return, that first 100K takes almost 8 years. It's a grind. But then look what happens. The second 100K takes just over 5 years. The third one? Under 4. By the time you're going from 400K to 500K, it's only 2.5 years. The speed up is just incredible. Your savings are the same, but your money starts doing more and more of the work for you.
And this chart just makes it crystal clear. That first 100 grand, which is only 1/10 of $1 million, takes up more than 1/4 of the total time it takes to become a millionaire. All the struggle, all the effort, it's all packed into that first big push.
And just to really show you how insane this momentum gets, once you finally hit that $1 million mark, how long do you think it takes to get the next $100,000? Just 15 months. 15, down from almost 8 years for the first one. That is the snowball effect at its absolute peak. Okay, so it's easy to look at all this and think, okay, I just need to pick the next big stock and get huge returns. But that's actually one of the biggest myths out there. At the beginning, the real engine that drives your growth isn't what you'd expect. This data right here is so eye-opening. Let's say you manage to save $15,000 a year for 6 years. You'll get over that 100K line. But look at where that money actually came from. A whopping 85% of it came directly from what you saved, your hard work. Only 15% came from investment returns. Yeah, the market helps, but it's your discipline that's doing almost all of the heavy lifting. So here's the bottom line, and it is so critical to get this. When you are just starting out, your savings rate is so much more important than your investment returns. It's not even close. You can't invest money that you haven't saved. So focusing on saving more is the single biggest thing you can do to speed up the journey. Okay, so we've covered the why. We get it. It's hard, but it's important. Now let's get into the how. Let's build an actual game plan to get you to that 100K as fast as humanly possible. We can break it all down into a really simple 3-part playbook. A lot of this wisdom comes from the classic book, The Millionaire Next Door. Think of it like a game. You gotta have a good offense, a strong defense, and you need to be efficient with every single move you make. First up, offense. This is all about one thing, increasing your income. Simple as that. Finding ways to bring more cash in the door. Maybe that's getting a certification to ask for a raise. Maybe it's starting a side hustle on the weekends, or even strategically job hopping to get a pay bump. The whole goal here is just to make the gap between what you earn and what you spend as wide as possible.
But, earning more isn't always easy or possible. And as the book points out, if you can't go out and double your salary tomorrow, don't worry. You can still build wealth by playing a really, really good defensive game.
And that's strategy number 2, defense. This is the art of being smart and intentional with the money you already have. It is not about being cheap, okay? It's about being strategic. It means having a budget, actually knowing where your money is going, and then making conscious decisions to cut back on the stuff that doesn't really matter to you.
Let me ask you a question, and be honest with yourself. Do you know, like down to the dollar, how much money you spend on restaurants and takeout last year? Most people have no idea. But the millionaires they studied for the book, they almost always knew, because you can't control what you don't track.
And finally, strategy 3, maximize efficiency. This is about making every dollar you have work its absolute hardest for you. It means using things like a 401k or a Roth IRA to protect your money from taxes. And please, if your company offers a 401k match, you have to take it. It is literally free money. It is the best return you will ever get on anything, period.
And this right here is another huge part of efficiency. Just look at this difference. If you have a chunk of cash just sitting in a regular savings account at a big bank, it's basically asleep. It's earning practically nothing. By moving it to a high-yield savings account, you can go from 0.01% to over 4% or even 5%. That's a 400 times better return for about 5 minutes of work, and it is the definition of making your money work for you.
So, we've gone through the physics of why it's hard and the game plan for how to do it. What's the one big idea you should walk away with from all this?
It's this. Every single dollar you manage to save before you hit that $100,000 finish line is one of the most powerful and important dollars you will ever save. These are the dollars doing the backbreaking work. They're the ones pushing that snowball and getting it started down the hill.
There's a simple little quote that kind of grounds this whole big idea. $1 million isn't some mythical thing. It's just a million single $1 bills, all stacked up. It's a great reminder that every little bit, every dollar you save really does count.
In the end, that first $100,000 is built $1 at a time, one smart decision at a time. It takes offense, defense, and efficiency. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know how powerful these early dollars are, what are you going to make your next dollar do?